Hey guys, it's Megan. Now, generally the back of my hair is none of my business, but I've been obsessed with making these DIY claw clips lately. I really like using these clear ones, but the techniques in this video will work with any clips that you have. I'll make sure to link all the supplies that I use in the description, but if you have any questions, definitely let me know. The easiest technique that I tried uses ribbon. So there's two different ways you can do this. For this one, I used a 4-inch claw clip and some pink 5/8 inch ribbon. Cut a piece of ribbon that's about 30 inches long. Line up the center of your ribbon with the center of the claw clip, then wrap the ribbon around the clip like so. Bring the ends of the ribbon together and tie them in a knot like this. Make 2 loops with the remaining ribbon and tie them into a bow. Go ahead and repeat this on the other side. Again, cut a 30-inch piece of ribbon, wrap it around your clip like this, bring the ends together, tie a knot, then tie the ends into a bow. Since I made my ribbon a little bit too long, I cut off the excess, then used a lighter to melt the ends so they wouldn't fray. And here's how the clip turned out. I think this was my favorite. It took like 5 minutes, super easy. And this mini one was even easier. I used lace instead of ribbon this time. I think that this one was about 20 inches long, and I threaded it through my claw clip like this. I tied the lace onto the middle of my clip like so, then tied it into a bow. Personally, I find that the bunny ears technique works the best for this. You could do this with a ribbon or strips of fabric too. I cut the ends so that it was even, and that was it. I like these more than like the alligator clips because they don't rip your hair out as much. And as someone with literally 3 pieces of hair, we're trying to save the environment back there. Both super cute, and the best part is everything's removable. This next one was probably my favorite. So the first thing you're going to want to do is grab some sandpaper and sand down both sides of the clip. I put some rubbing alcohol on a paper towel to wipe off any extra dust. Now you're going to want to find some adhesive caulk and any sort of embellishments that you want to stick in. These flat back pearls and gems work really well. I also used rhinestones, some old buttons, and a few of these flat embellishments from Hobby Lobby. So you're going to take your caulk and put that all over the clip. I spread mine out with a popsicle stick so that it would be smooth, then used a toothpick to remove any extra that got in the middle or the sides of the clip. And then just add in your embellishments. I didn't show this on camera, but you might want to plan out your design before adding the stuff to the caulk because it does set up fairly quickly. I traced my clip onto a piece of paper and did it that way because it's honestly kind of hard to get the stuff to stay on the clip. I ended up cutting some of the snowflake embellishments in half. You'll definitely want to find some smaller embellishments to use for this. You don't have to wait the full 24 hours before you do the other side. I probably waited about 6 hours just because I had other stuff to do that day, but you'd probably be fine waiting for like an hour. I did wait about 24 hours to make sure that everything was fully dry, but here's how the finished clip turned out. For some reason, I never seem to get everything done before Christmas, so I really like making winter-themed stuff like this that I can wear for a little bit longer. I had these wood stars left over from another project, and 4 of the 1-inch stars fit perfectly. I picked out a couple, sanded down the edges, then painted them, which I should have picked a lighter color, but whatever, it's gonna get covered with rhinestones anyways. Which, life hack, you can wrap some of that blue tack stuff that you use to hang posters around the edge of a pencil to make like this tool that makes it easier to pick up rhinestones. 10 out of 10, definitely recommend. Anyways, I used UV resin instead of glue this time because I swear every time I use that rhinestone glue, they all fall off, so we tried something different. Surprisingly, this only took about 10 minutes per star, so not too bad. I cured the resin under my lamp. I ended up lining them up like so, and using some UV resin to stick them on. I put the resin sort of in the middle of the stars on the edges, and since the clip had that empty space in the middle, I put it on the points of the star for the middle ones. Since I used a clear hair clip, this technique worked really well. The UV light can shine through the clip and everything will get cured. I was really trying to make sure that those middle stars wouldn't fall off. So after I cured it the first time, I added even more resin to the back of those middle stars, making sure that it touched the edges of the clip. I used a popsicle stick to kind of hold the clip open. I thought this might help the light reach the resin a little bit better, I don't know. I went ahead and repeated that on the other side. Definitely recommend gloves for this. I forgot on the first round, but I'm really trying to get better about that. What is everyone's New Year's resolution? Because I genuinely have not thought about it at all. At this point, my resolution is just to make it to 2025. But I love how this turned out. I never got to show this on my channel, but I used a similar technique to make earrings inspired by the Barbie movie last summer. As some of you know, I had to take a little bit of a break. Besties, I am getting old. My body is failing me. I don't know what you want me to say. But anyways, I really like how the wood shapes worked on the star clip. So I went through my craft room and found these wood bows that I bought on sale at Michael's a couple years ago. And they fit on these mini claw clips just about perfectly. So I picked out 2 of them and sanded down any rough edges. Next, I used some matte white acrylic paint to cover the front and the back of each bow. I thought about how I wanted to decorate these for way too long. It definitely helped to trace the bows a couple times and plan out the design in my sketchbook. Once I found a design that I was happy with, I sketched it out on the wood piece with a pencil. You don't have to sketch it out, but since I was making 2 of them, I wanted them to be as similar as possible. At first I wanted to use ink, but that dried way too fast and it was kind of hard to control, so I ended up using blue Posca pens instead. I erased my sketch a bit, then went in with my extra fine point Posca pen. If you don't have Posca pens, acrylic paint would also work. After the blue parts dried, I went back in with a small brush and some more white paint to cover up any mistakes or pencil lines that were still showing. To make them look more like porcelain, I covered each bow with a layer of UV resin. For some reason, the Posca pen ink gave the resin like a slightly blue tint. I'm not exactly sure how I would have avoided that. Maybe if you do a layer of Mod Podge before the resin. I used a lighter to pop any bubbles, cured that under my lamp, and repeated this process for the second bow. To stick these on, I added some resin to the edges of my clip and tried to make sure that the bow was as centered as possible. I held onto the clip for about a minute to make sure that everything stayed in place while it cured. Then I added even more resin to this rectangle space inside the clip. Just cure that again and repeat the exact same process on the other side. And after all that, here's how my finished clip turned out. If you don't want to make 2 of them, you could always use an alligator clip instead of a claw clip. This one blew up on TikTok. It got like 2 million views somehow. And so many people said that these reminded them of the Hello Kitty bows. Which, same. So I picked out 2 bows, sanded them down, and I decided to make mine pink. I didn't have the exact color that I wanted, so I just mixed these 2 together. I debated for a while between red or pink, but I thought since I have brown hair that the pink would show up better. I just painted the front and the back of each bow. You might have to do 2 coats. And even though the Hello Kitty bow design is pretty simple, I still sketched it out beforehand to be safe. I did this for both bows, then erased the majority of the sketch and filled in the lines with white acrylic paint. Which, if you have like a white colored pencil or a white chalk pencil, I would probably do the sketch with that next time. Honestly, a paint pen would have been so much faster, but I used a Posca pen on the last bow, and it sort of discolored the resin, so I wanted to see if the paint would work better. I made sure to paint the edges of the bows as well, then covered each one with a layer of UV resin. I used a lighter to pop any bubbles, cured that under my lamp, again making sure to do both bows, and to stick these on, I added some resin to the edges of my clip, and tried to make sure that the bow was as centered as possible. I held onto the clip for about 10 seconds to make sure that everything stayed in place while it cured, then added even more resin to this rectangle space inside the clip. Just cure that again, and repeat the exact same process on the other side. I had some of these Hello Kitty charms left over from another project, so I used some 20 gauge wire and my one-step looper tool to create wire loops in between a few beads, attaching the loops with pliers to create a charm. I stuck a lobster clasp to the end so it could be added to the wire on the back of the clip like so. Even if you don't do the Hello Kitty theme, you can use any beads that you have, and I think these turn out so cute. But after all that, here's how the finished clip turned out. I thought the claw clips that I made with the wood pieces came out so cute. So I went through my craft room and found these wood hearts. These were left over from a project that I made back in maybe like 2017. Some of them definitely aged better than others. A few of the hearts were already painted white, but I wanted my hearts to be silver, so I painted the front and the back of each one. Then I grabbed some scrap paper and traced around my claw clip. I decided to use one of the bigger clips this time. After I traced that, I stuck my wood heart in the middle and traced around that as well. I wanted to do one of those hearts with angel wing designs, so I sketched out a template for the wings. I wasn't super happy with the first version, but my second attempt turned out much better. So I cut that out, then I found this sparkly faux leather. I accidentally spilled resin on it, but just ignore that. You only need to draw one wing for the template. Just trace it like this, then trace it with the template facing down the second time. Repeat this so you have 4 wings all together since there's 2 sides of the clip. It was definitely starting to come together, but I wasn't quite feeling it. So I found some rhinestones, used a toothpick to add a little resin to the edge of my wood hearts, then made a border with silver rhinestones. I wiped off any extra resin with a Q-tip, cured that under my lamp, and I wanted to add more detail to the wings too. This glitter faux leather was kind of tricky since it wasn't flat, but I found out that making the resin a little bit thicker helped the rhinestones stick a little better. The design on the left wing matched the template, and for the rhinestones on the right wing, I just flipped the design. To put everything together, first I stuck the heart to the middle of my clip. I only cured that about halfway before adding the wings. I was gonna try to put the wings under the heart a little bit, but honestly, it was just easier to put them beside it. I cured that again, added more resin to this space in the middle of the clip to help everything stay in place, cured that, and repeated the exact same process on the other side. And after all that, here's how the finished clip turned out. This one's okay. Honestly, it's not my favorite, but I spent so much time on those freaking rhinestones that I was determined to finish it one way or another. But you know what? She's still kind of cute though. A few of you suggested putting the hearts onto a bow. I found some red acrylic paint and painted the front and back of each heart. I needed about 2 coats on each side. Make sure you don't forget the edges. After that dried, I found these red rhinestones. I like to stick them on with UV resin because I swear, whenever I use that rhinestone glue, they always fall off. I used a Q-tip to clean up any extra resin, cured that, and repeated the exact same process for the second heart. Since I used a matte paint this time, the hearts had a couple shiny spots where I cleaned up the resin. So I went back in and added another coat of red paint to cover those up. I wasn't in love with how the heart looked on the bow. I think if the heart was a little bit smaller, it would have looked okay. And the bigger bows just will not work on the claw clips. Like, I don't know what you want me to do. I tried making a fabric bow to go behind it, and I think that could have worked if I made the bow a little bit longer, but like this was my third attempt at this freaking bow, and frankly, I was over it. So I eventually settled on this lace, which, not quite a bow, but hey, it's something. I ended up wrapping the lace around like this, sticking it on with a dot of hot glue on either side, and securing the edges in the middle with a little more glue. Cut off any excess, repeat the exact same process on the other side of the clip, and I still used UV resin to stick on the hearts. I didn't put any resin on the back this time though, so we'll see how it holds up. Honestly, I can't decide if I like this or if it's too plain. Maybe I could add a charm like I did for the Hello Kitty one. These are my new favorite thing. They're so easy. You just pick out a few beads, then take some 20 to 22 gauge wire and add loops to each one. I like using my one-step looper tool for this. If you make a ton of jewelry like I do, this will save you so much time. I got most of these beads from Amazon. As always, you know where to find the link, but after I added wire to each bead, I used my flat pliers to attach the loops and added a lobster clasp to the end so I could add it to the back of the hair clip like this. You know, honestly, I can't decide whether I like this or not. I almost like the claw clip better plain, but since we added the lobster clasp, I can just remove it and add it to one of these snap clips like this. A lot of times people will add jump rings to the little hole right there on these ones, which that would be another option, but you could also stick this on a keychain, clip it to a safety pin, and make a bag charm. If you make it a little shorter, I think this would be cute if you clipped it to like a zipper too. Surprisingly, a very versatile DIY. But yeah, those were all the clips that I made so far. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know I haven't been posting here, honestly. I do currently have mono, so that's great. My god, if you guys only knew, I swear, but things are turning around, things are starting to go well. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, thank you for sticking with me. Hopefully, I will get back to a regular posting schedule soon. If not, you could always follow me on TikTok, just saying. But I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!